So I want to do, excuse me, want to do a little bit of a video response today. Another guy's got a YouTube channel. His channel is JCPipesnKnives. Um, in fact, if I can figure out how to do it, I'll link his channel in the description. I'll just copy and paste his channel into the description down below so you can go check out his video. Within the last like 4 or 5 days, I think he did a video on McConnell's Scottish cake versus McConnell Scottish flake. Scottish cake, Scottish flake. I think probably for the rest of the video, if I remember, I'm probably just going to say cake and flake. Try not to get them mixed up. And I haven't done a video review yet, or a video response yet, like really a video response. So this seemed like a good opportunity because I actually have a tin of Scottish cake open that I opened about a week ago. So a few days before he actually did the video. Now, Scottish cake is one of those. It's one of those tobaccos that's got a lot of. It's got a lot of reviews. You know, a lot of people know about it. It's one of those ones like most others. When I started smoking it, you could pretty much get it whenever you wanted. Like it's very rarely sold out. If it was sold out, it wasn't for that long of a time. By the way, today I am smoking in my little Sarah L. Tang, like a brandy, like an eggy brandy shape. I think if it was a little bit taller, you maybe consider it more of an egg, but I think when I bought it, the description said that it was like a bent brandy. So that's what we're gonna go with. This isn't gonna be set up like my normal like tobacco reviews. Like I said, it's more of a video response. What I will say about Scottish cake is it's the blend that I have smoked the most of. I have not smoked another specific blend more than I've smoked Scottish cake. It was the first blend that I smoked that I really kind of like got, like it like really like kind of grabbed me. I think the first time I smoked it was probably about 15 years ago, and it's the blend that I have the most stocked away of, because I have liked it for so long, pretty consistently, that it's one of those things where if it's in stock and I'm making an order, I almost always buy at least a tin or two. There was times where I would buy like maybe 5 tins or whatever. So there's other blends that I think there's other blends out there that I think now I probably like a little bit more, but Scottish cake for me is like one of those just like old standbys. I know it's good. I always like it, you know, and it's just pretty consistent. It works for me. Escudo is another one. And I know that probably sounds pretty cliche. Oh, Scottish cake and Escudo, you know. It's like, I mean, if they're good, they're good, you know. I don't really know, you know, what to say. And I didn't really take that much care in getting a good charring light going, so I may be messing with my pipe a lot, especially because when you're talking and everything, it just kind of, you know, things happen. So Scottish Flake is one that I I didn't it didn't like wasn't on my radar at the same time as Scottish cake. Scottish Flake didn't really get on my radar until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. Um, and I've obviously I haven't smoked nearly as much as of Scottish Flake as I have Scottish cake. I've smoked probably 2 or 3 tins of the Scottish Flake. Um, to me, I think the biggest difference that's noticeable in the smoke is the amount of Kentucky. It seemed pretty obvious to me that the Kentucky content was less in the Scottish Flake and was more in the Scottish cake. At least that was my perception. So, and I was actually, so part of this video response is JC, kind of asked like, hey, if anyone has any idea of what the proportions are, if it's the same components, all that kind of stuff, maybe let him know. So I'm pretty sure he watches my videos. Hopefully he watches this one. So I have on fairly good authority, I won't say who, but someone who I trust would know about the components and their proportions, or at least have a really good idea. Scottish cake and Scottish flake, according to this individual, is they have the same base tobaccos in terms of their Virginia, Perique, and Kentucky. The biggest difference is that, and like I said, this isn't, I'm not talking to the master blender or, someone that works in the Connell factory, but someone I would trust to know about these kinds of things, stated that there's more, like the components are the same, but there's more Virginia, less Perique and Kentucky in Scottish Flake. Makes it a little bit sweeter, maybe not, just like a little bit sweeter, maybe a little bit less smoky, a little bit less strong. And Scottish cake has obviously then a little bit less Virginia and a little bit more Perique and Kentucky. Without talking to the blenders at McConnell or wherever, it's not McConnell, it's either STG or Coalhouse and Cop, I believe, that blends it. Without talking to them, it's hard to really know. But like I said, I feel like I could trust this individual and that he would pretty much know what he was talking about. And by smoking both of them, I think that it seems consistent to me, right? Seems extremely probable that Scottish Flake is a little bit higher on the Virginia, a little bit less on the Perique and the Kentucky than the Flake. Or I'm sorry, the Flake is higher on the. See, I messed it up. The Flake is higher on the Virginia, less on the Perique and Kentucky than the cake. I don't really care because they're both really good. Scotch Flake is one now that I've started kind of stocking back on a little bit. I don't know how many tins I got. I don't know, somewhere between a half dozen and a dozen. But another thing about Scottish cake is I've noticed that it's a blend that, in my opinion, really. I mean, most blends do, but this blend in particular really seems to develop with age. I've smoked it at brand new. I've smoked it at 3 years. I've smoked it at 5 years. I've smoked it at various levels between 5 and 10 years, 12 years, and 15 years. And I think that for me, between that 10 and 12 year mark is like kind of the sweet spot. I didn't notice a huge difference between like 10 and 12 years and then jump up to like 15 years. The same individual that I would trust to know about the components, or at least have a very good idea, has stated that once you get to that 12-year mark, you kind of plateau on the development, and not until you get to like 20 plus years, then you start to notice big differences again. So For me, it's one of those things where, if I lose a tin and I find it in 20 years, I think some of the oldest tins I have right now I think they're like 11 years old. And if I happen to lose one or two of those and, find them in another 10 years, I'll obviously be ecstatic about it, but I would not feel bummed at all about popping those tins in the next year or two and smoking them. Like I said, the oldest tin I have is from 2011. The one I'm smoking right now, I don't remember if it's 11 or 13. I've got like a handful from 11, a handful from 13, a handful from I think 14, a handful from I think 16, and then on through the line. So um, Scottish cake is one of those. I think so. I obviously I love Scottish cake, and I love Scottish flake as well. I just hadn't found it. I hadn't tried it until like I said, the last few years. Um, and it's like I said, it's one of those tobaccos. It's one of those blends that like you doesn't really need an introduction. Most people that have been smoking pipes for any amount of time, they know Scottish cake. Um, there's people out there that I think probably don't care for it that much, but I think the majority, like the vast majority of people, really like Scottish cake, and that's evidenced by, it goes, when smoking pipes or some of these other places get it, it's generally gone fairly quickly. And I don't think it's a supply issue. I feel like they get quite a bit. I don't know what they get, but I feel like generally like they get quite a bit, and it doesn't seem to last very long. So um, it's it's definitely a top five tobacco for me. It right there hinges on top three. My top three kind of changes based on weather, based on time of year, things like that. But it's consistently in top five. If you said, hey, you could only have Scottish cake to smoke the rest of your life, I'd be happy with that because for me, it's light enough to enjoy during the summer, um, and it's got enough body and depth and richness to enjoy on those cold, winter days and winter nights. Cold. I mean, I'm in California, so we're not talking freezing here, but I mean it gets cold, but at like 2 or 3 in the morning, where I'm at, 2 or 3 in the morning, during the late fall and winter time, it's pretty consistently between 15 and 25 degrees, but then it warms up to like 60, 70 during the day. Um, Escudo obviously is another one for me that, if you said all you can have is a Escudo for the rest of your life, I'd be a very happy pipe smoker if all I could have was a Escudo, as long as I could get it. Another one, I know I did a video on Piccadilly, GLP's Piccadilly. It's got Latakia in it, but it has Perique as well, and it doesn't have a lot of Latakia. That's one of those that I'd be happy with smoking it all year long, but I would definitely enjoy it a lot more during the fall and winter and spring. During the summer, I would be kind of like one of those things where I'd be smoking it and I'd be like, I enjoy this, but I just don't enjoy it nearly as much as when it's like 30, 40 degrees in my garage and I'm bundled up. So um, and to me, that's kind of like the ultimate benchmark. It's like, to make it into my top five, I've noticed that it's gotta, like, I would have to like enjoy it year round. If I don't, if it's something that I don't enjoy year round, it's probably not going to be on my top five. A good example of that would be like something like Westminster. I really enjoy Westminster, but when it's 100 degrees and I'm sweating and I'm not gonna enjoy Westminster. it's not made anymore, but HH Vintage Syrian, another one of those where it's, you know, one of my top English blends, but if, you know, once again, if it's 100 degrees, I'm not going to enjoy it. The last one I would say is Early Morning Pipe. I really like early morning pipe. It reminds me a lot of Piccadilly. It's a little bit different. I think it's like a little bit softer. In my opinion, it's a little softer, like a little bit more of a velvety kind of smoke. Um, but like I said, it's 100 degrees out. I'm not going to enjoy early morning pipe um, nearly as much. Anyway, I don't have a whole lot of tobaccos open right now. I've got this tin of Scottish cake open. I've got a tin of Briar Fox open by Cornell and Deal. Um, and I'm probably going to do a review on that here. That'll probably be my next video, be a review on Briar Fox. And I've got some jars of tobacco that I kind of pop open here and there, and a couple pouches. But yeah, for the most part, I've been smoking Briar Fox and now this Scottish cake. So I haven't been smoking as much. Like I think I said before in another video that I'm not working from home as much, so I'm not smoking as much. So generally, I'm pretty happy if I get like one. You know, I'd pretty much average at least one bowl a day. You know, on a heavy day, I'll maybe, you know, smoke two or three. But it's probably a good thing for, you know, my overall well-being, I guess. Anyway, I'm not going to do a full-blown review on Scottish cake. I think what I've said about it is probably about enough. Like I said, it's one of those things where everybody knows about it. Pretty much everybody knows it's good. I don't know if I could say anything more that would add anything to the YouTube pipe community regarding Scottish cake. But I did want to make a little review, or I did want to make a video kind of as a video response, like I said, to JC. Appreciate him for posting that video and comparing the two, because I think that's probably the best way to go about doing a review on these tobaccos, because they are so similar. So kudos to him for doing that. Other than that, I want to probably cut it off here. I don't want to make it extra long. I just want to do a short little response. And yeah, in the next week or two, I'll hit up a review of Briar Fox, and then after that, I'll probably hit up a couple more Codger blends, kind of revisit that series a little bit, and go from there. So appreciate you guys. Over 500 subscribers, which is crazy to me. I can't believe there's 500 people out there that like me sitting in my garage enough to watch videos about me rambling about pipes and tobacco. I know the videos generally get long, which is funny because I don't really consider myself a long-winded individual, but it is what it is. You guys are pretty much the only people I have to talk to about pipes and tobacco, because I don't really have anyone else that I know that really smokes a pipe and tobacco. There's one guy, but I don't really see him very much. He lives a few hours away. I don't really see, he's busy, I'm busy, so it is what it is. Yep, that's pretty much it. If you haven't tried Scottish cake, when it comes up in stock, grab a tin, try it. Odds are, unless you only smoke aromatics, but odds are if you like things, you know, if you like Virginias, you like Virginia Periques, you like something with a little bit of Kentucky, I think you're gonna like it. If you If you absolutely despise Kentucky, I would still recommend buying it because there's, in my opinion, there's not enough there to run you off. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. If you're worried about that, buy the Scottish Flake. Give that a shot. If you really like that, move over to the Scottish Cake and give that a try. So hopefully the video helps you. JC, appreciate you doing the video. Yep. Take care of yourselves. Adios.